I wield a shield and a mace and a staff and the like. I sing this small song when the throat I do hike. I shout at my foes and they fall to the ground. But when day comes to end, white runs where I'm found. Hello to you. Christopher Walken here. Today I got a brand new build for you. The Witcher. Enjoy. Well, here it is, folks. Gauntlet thrown, gauntlet picked up, challenge issued and accepted. Here is my The Witcher build. Geralt of Rivia. As you can see, he's got a big old badass two-handed blade. And of course alchemy, which was, I've thought of this build previously, but the reason I didn't do it was just because I couldn't be bothered with alchemy. I love the concept of it so much. I really want to get into alchemy and just go crazy, with alchemy, but it's so tedious to level up. Anyway, so I went with alchemy here, 200 sword, light armor, so on and so forth. Blocking, of course. Now, the Witcher is sort of he's a very fluid character in the sense that he doesn't fit into, he's very hard to define within the Elder Scrolls universe. He's got these signs, and what are they, spells or what? First I had to go at assigning spells to signs, and there were two problems with that. One was I had to put points into magicka, of course, and I didn't like that. Geralt isn't a wizard, and plus then that takes points away from health and stamina, which really are needed. The second problem was I couldn't assign a spell to every sign. I did need to augment it with shouts. Let's face it, the Ard sign, it has to be Unrelenting Force. There's no two ways about it. You can't substitute it with anything else. So I decided I'll go completely with shouts, and I'll just take a couple creative liberties. I'll compromise somewhat. So what I've done is I've gone for the Ard, Unrelenting Force, of course, Fusroda, a bit of that action. For Igni, I've done Fire Breath, which works perfectly. For Erden, or however you say it, I did Ice Form. Now, my reasoning behind that was Erden is a trap to, root the opponent, and Ice Form freezes them in the block of ice, so it has the same function. So I figured that was alright to do. Quen is a shield, and I really would have loved to have done an alteration, skin armor spell, along with one of those destruction cloaks, like a little lightning cloak, whatever it's called. That would have been perfect. But, it's a spell, and it's two spells. It just makes it too complicated. So instead, I went with the Become Ethereal shout, which, same function. It protects you. So that worked out nicely. I'm pretty pleased with that. Now, the biggest compromise, I think, and the one that pains me the most, is the Axii sign. Now, if I recall correctly, the Axii sign sort of brainwashes an opponent into fighting for you. Now, the illusion school would have been perfect for that, but it's a spell, man, and I didn't want to do that. So I went with Kind's Peace, or I'm not sure how you say it. I went with Kind's Peace, and the compromise there is that it only works on creatures, which is a shame, but you can get away with it because Geralt is a monster slayer after all. Now, moving on, the Silver Sword. This is the only rule that I have, aside from no spells, if you can call that a rule. Alright. One must use a silver sword when fighting non-humans. It can be a bitch, and you will have to use a shitload of alchemy. Because you can't, as far as I know, you can't upgrade a silver sword. So you're stuck with a base damage. But yes, you need the silver sword. I can't leave it out. It's Geralt of Plowing Rivia, alright? Also, I went with a two-handed. See, this was another one of those, oh, what do I do moments. I went with two-handed because it fits Geralt better, but it's nowhere near as fast as he should be, you know? I think he uses a bastard sword, which, if you don't know, is also referred to as hand and a half, but that's more a modern term. But a bastard sword is like, it's like the love child of a two-handed sword and a long sword. You take the blade from a long sword and put it on the hilt of a two-handed sword. So you can use it with two hands, but it's, in terms of weight, it's more akin to a long sword. And the reason it's called a bastard sword is because it's a bastard of both. It doesn't fit into either family. Now, I suppose I could have used Elemental Fury to get, you know, more of that speed. But then there's like another sign, and I don't know, maybe my excuses are weak, and you really could throw in Elemental Fury to just so that two-handed sword feels a little bit more Geralt-y. But, you know, that's up to you. However you want to swing it, rock it. Moving on to skills. Alright, first I will go smithing here. And this is just so I could upgrade my weaponry and whatnot, which really was essential. I went all the way up to the top, but that wasn't really needed. That was just being extravagant. Alright, blocking quick reflexes is invaluable. I love that. Alright, I went up to disarming bash, but you know what? I don't think that works with two-handed weapons. I'm not sure though. Alrighty. Of course, deep wounds for the sword. Now, I didn't pick the very top one, the paralyzing, because for the life of me, I just can't seem to pull off a backwards power attack. So I left it out. Alright, light armor. You need it. You really do. Because he's right in the thick of it. It's quite difficult, actually, if you're not on the ball, to not get mauled. And alchemy, of course. The hallmark of a witcher. Well, hold the phone. Get back there. There we go. Alright, I've basically picked everything except the last 2 points in Experimenter. And the only reason I put that 1 point in Experimenter is because it is required, funnily enough, for purity at the top there. I didn't know that until this build. See, I don't use alchemy that much. And that's the way it was. There you have it. I hope you enjoyed The Witcher. And stay tuned for more Skyrim Roleplay builds.
I shout at my foes and they fall to the ground. But when day comes to end, white runs where I'm found. I wield a shield and a mace and a staff and the like. I sing this small song when the throat I do hike. I shout at my foes and they fall to the ground. But when day comes to end, white runs where I'm found. Yes, when day comes to end, a larger mud's where I'm bound. When day comes to end, white runs where I'm found.